Hello there, my name is Jay. I'm one of the expert IELTS teachers here at E2 Language. Let's take a look at IELTS Writing Task 2 and the opinion type of essay. What we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to think about how to analyze the task and how to plan accordingly. This on test day should take you about 4 minutes. That's 4 good minutes of reading the question prompt, the task, and planning what you're going to write. Then we're going to follow the structure and we're going to write with the criteria in mind. This will take up the bulk of your time at about 32 minutes before finally you leave some time at the end to check your work. Okay, let's analyze and plan this particular essay. Here we go. It says, some people believe that handwriting is no longer useful in the modern world and should not be taught in schools. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Let's read it again. Some people believe that handwriting is no longer useful in the modern world and should not be taught in schools. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay, we have here an opinion type of essay. Let's break it down so we can write a better essay. There are 2 parts to this question prompt. The first part says some people believe that handwriting is no longer useful in the modern world. And the second part is that handwriting should not be taught in schools. If you fail to write about one of those parts, you will get a low score on your essay. You need to make sure that you cover all parts of that task. Okay, so when we're planning, we want to break those 2 parts down and we want to write about each of them. The first part is handwriting is no longer useful. The second part is that it shouldn't be taught in schools. What I want to do for each part is, firstly, give my opinion. I disagree with this. I think handwriting is useful. So therefore, I'm going to have to write about why I disagree, how. I need to give some examples or an example, and I need to show an effect. And we'll talk about the structure in a second. And the second part, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to disagree. I think handwriting should be taught in schools. I'm going to talk about why, how, I'm going to give an example or examples, and I'm going to show an effect. Okay, now let's have a look more closely at some different structures that we could use on test day. So the first type of structure could look like this. We always start with an introduction. And the introduction is going to have a background statement. It'll usually just be a sentence or 2 that sort of sets the context for the essay. It's not too specific, it's more broad. Then we're going to write a specific statement based on the task. What you can do is sort of rewrite that task in your own words. And the third part of the introduction is we're going to say what we'll write about. And of course, we're going to give our opinion. In this one, I'm going to say that I vehemently disagree. Then we enter body paragraph 1, where I'll give the first reason for my opinion, body paragraph 2, the second reason for my opinion, before reaching a conclusion where I make another broad statement about the topic before summarizing my arguments and my opinion. That's one way or one structure. Here's another way. I do the same thing with the introduction, but this time in body 1, I discuss the other view, people who agree that handwriting should be abolished, for example, before in body 2, giving my opinion before concluding. Another way that we might structure this essay might be to give the introduction as before. Then in body 1, we'll talk about the first reason for my opinion, maybe a single idea paragraph. In body 2, we'll talk about the second reason for my opinion. And then we might actually have a third paragraph, a third body paragraph here in this essay, where I talk about the other view and why it's wrong, before finishing with a conclusion. So there are different ways that you can approach this. It all depends on the task that you are given, and it all depends on how you plan to write your essay. What we're going to do is, in body 1, I'm going to write a single idea paragraph that'll have a point, an explanation, an example, an effect, and a link. And in the second body paragraph, I'm going to write a double idea paragraph that has like an umbrella type of topic sentence, point 1, which I extend, and point 2, which I extend. Okay, let's now write this essay with the criteria in mind. If you've forgotten what the criteria are, here they are here. We have task response, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and here they are more specifically. You may want to pause the video and take a closer look because these are what it's all about. If you fail to write according to the criteria, you're going to get a low score. If you do write your essay keeping these in mind and writing according to them, you're going to get a higher score. Simple as that. Okay, let's take a look at my sample here. Again, here is the question prompt or the task. Some people believe that handwriting is no longer useful in the modern world and should not be taught in schools. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Well, let's take a look at this body paragraph 1. It's a single idea paragraph. Let's start with a point or the topic sentence. It says, despite the ubiquity of keyboards nowadays, handwriting still plays an important role. So I've broadly given my opinion here. I'm saying it's still important. Now I need to explain that. Above all, writing by hand helps the learning process. Give me an example. Well, most university students would know that when typing notes in a lecture or reviewing, it can be extremely difficult to recall that information later, whereas writing by hand has the opposite effect. What is that effect? Well, in fact, it has been proven that taking notes by hand and rewriting for review significantly boosts memory and retrieval of important information. In other words, if students relied only on typing, their learning comprehension would suffer. Okay, now I need to link this back to the task. Clearly, although typing may often be more convenient, there is still definitely a place for the pen and paper. You can see how apparent my opinion or my position is all the way through this paragraph. It is not unclear. It is very clear what I think about that task and about that topic. Okay, let's look at the second paragraph. This time I'm going to use a double idea paragraph, so it's a bit different. What I'm going to do is give like a topic statement, then I'm going to give a point which I extend and another point which I extend as well, and it will work like this. Given its continued importance, it is vital in my view to continue teaching writing as part of every child's schooling. Point 1, in addition to the cognitive benefits mentioned above, there is a physical aspect too. And I extend that in the same sentence as the simple act of holding and manipulating a pencil helps hone a child's fine motor skills. If they learn to write only on the computer, they would take much longer to develop this dexterity. So my point 1 is about the physical benefits of handwriting. What's my point 2? Well, another point to consider is the link between identity and handwriting. What do you mean? Well, each person's signature and style is unique and should be considered a valuable asset. The typed word, in contrast, lacks any personal flair. So this is a different paragraph. My second paragraph is different to my first. I've decided to put two ideas into it, and I've used that structure, and it's very well, it's very coherent. Okay, now, here is the full essay. I just want you to read it thinking about task response. Did I answer all parts of the question? Is my opinion clear from the beginning right to the end? And I didn't contradict myself. I didn't say, I like handwriting and then say, no, I don't like handwriting. Make sure you don't do that. Did I present, extend, and support my ideas within the paragraphs with examples and explanations and links, etc.? And most importantly, did I stay on topic? You can also look at this sample according to coherence and cohesion. Did I organize the information logically? Did I use paragraphs? Did I use a range of linking devices like discourse markers and pronouns and make it all flow very nicely from beginning to end? Also, in terms of vocabulary, did I use a wide range? Did I use my vocabulary precisely? And did I use correct spelling? And lastly, did I use a wide range of grammatical structures, different sentence types? Importantly, did I use some complex structures? Did I use the grammar accurately? And is my punctuation correct? Okay, now let's check our work to make sure there's no silly mistakes. When writing IELTS essays, there are common errors, and here are some of them. There are 14 of these. Let's have a look at this one here. Here are some highlighted errors. Can you firstly identify them? Do you know what the error is? Is it an error, a preposition error, or a verb tense, or just the wrong word, for example? And more importantly, can you fix it? You may want to pause the video and think about how you would fix these errors. And here is the fixed essay. There are, of course, different ways that you could fix this, but hopefully you did that. Cool. All right. So what did we do? We looked at the opinion essay. Of course, on test day, this may come in many different forms. The task will change. But what we've done is we've looked at different structures. We've been flexible. For this particular essay, we've used a single idea paragraph and a double idea paragraph. On test day, you may do it differently. But what we've done is we've definitely answered the question. We've given our opinion. It's grammatically accurate, has a good range of vocabulary, and it uses a good structure. Cool. Now it's your turn to do some practice.